Hello Games recently blew our minds yet again with the fully customizable Corvette class ships, which came as the major part of the Voyager's update. They can have massive interiors, snappable modules, even autopilot, and we can fully customize the interior of them as well, which effectively means it turns them into a flying base, basically. But what if Hello Games decided in the future to take these ships even further? Today, I'm breaking down 10 features that could add insane depth to the Corvettes in the future. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get stuck in. Before we do dive into this, I just want to make it absolutely clear, everything in this video is pure speculation and possibly a personal wish list, I guess, of ideas or ideas that I've seen other players come up with on Reddit and other forums like that. The Corvette ships are already an incredible addition to No Man's Sky. I absolutely love them in their current form, and huge thanks to Hello Games for continuing to surprise us with updates and for giving us these amazing ships to explore the galaxy with. But enough of me waffling on, let's get stuck into that list. I am going to start off with this video probably sounding a little bit like Captain Obvious here, but this is, at least in my opinion, the one which is most likely to happen, if anything, and it may be almost guaranteed over the coming months and years, and that is, of course, new ship building modules, both interior and exterior. Like right now, we've already got an initial set of maybe a couple hundred modules so far, which is a great start, but we can already create so many different ships with these, and I fully expect Hello Games to increase this number over the course of the next few updates, just like they've done with the base building parts over the years. At number 2, let's move on to your crew, or perhaps lack thereof right now, because Corvettes don't let us hire any NPC crew members like we can do at our on-planet bases. But instead, picture this, every crew member has a profession and a skill level. You could hire a seasoned engineer who improves your reactor's efficiency, or maybe you can hire a weapons officer who increases turret accuracy and damage during combat, whilst a medic can help the rest of those crew heal faster. Maybe you can involve boarding skirmishes and hostile encounters. It wouldn't just be about stacking the stats either. There could be like personality traits and morale. Maybe one crew member is a bit of a perfectionist who works best if you keep the ship in pristine condition. More on that in a few minutes. While another is, I don't know, laid back but performs poorly if the living quarters are neglected. And suddenly, your choice of interior design and ship facilities has a real impact. And this is the kind of system that will give Corvettes an extra layer of depth, turning them from just customizable ships into full-on living starships with personalities and real stakes tied to your hireable crew. And number 3, let's talk about ship integrity and maintenance. Because right now, your ships are, for the most part, fairly indestructible outside of combat. But what if Corvettes had like real integrity systems? For example, your hull plating could wear down over time, your engines could need regular maintenance, and damage could actually affect performance. For example, picture losing one of your engines in a battle and suddenly struggling to maneuver, or having a wing shot off, or whatever else. Instead of just a health bar, you'd have systems management, so replacing plates, patching reactors, or upgrading your shipyard so maintenance becomes like easier overall. And that could tie in with the crew roles that I mentioned in point number 2. It would make like all your explorations feel more like captaining a real starship. Now obviously not everyone would want such a system adding into the game, but for those of you who do enjoy ship combat a lot, it could be a great depth addition into the game. Speaking of combat, at number 4, let's go a little bit further into that. Right now, it's mostly about forward weapons and shields, but what if Corvettes had modular turrets you could place around the hull? So, point them backwards, you can maybe man them yourself, assign them to the crew that you hired from point I mentioned earlier yet again, or just let them auto-fire. And how about directional shields? Like, what I mean by this is, maybe you boost the front shields to plow head-on through pirate fire. Or perhaps you shift energy to the rear when you're retreating or just running away, whatever you want to do. Combine that with a proper weapons officer or a bridge crew, and suddenly Corvette battles feel a lot more tactical and not just exactly the same every single time. Okay, so moving on to number 5, let's talk about tech trees and progression. Corvette upgrades are either modular swaps with components like reactors, shields, weapons, and so on and so forth. And of course, you can install the same ship upgrades as other ships to boost its stats. But what about having Corvette specific, Corvette's very own tech tree? Early on, you might use like standard alloys, but later research could unlock lighter, stronger materials. Reactors could evolve into experimental warp cores or shields into exotic energy barriers. Or we could unlock new weapons never seen before in No Man's Sky. And of course, cosmetics could tie into the progression as well. So unlock advanced paint schemes, animated parts like folding solar sails, or similar animated wings like the ones you see on some Sentinel ships. It would give long-term players a real sense of Corvette mastery, in my opinion. At number 6, let's talk about role-based specialization. And what do I mean by this? Well, we know Corvette customization is already deep. What if we could go down the route of giving our Corvette a specialized role? For example, we could go down the combat route and have our Corvette littered with turrets and heavy shields and whatever else she needs to be the best in a dogfight. Or perhaps you go down a trading route, so our Corvette is much larger with massive cargo holds and a better warp range, but with the caveat that it wouldn't be great in a dogfight. Or maybe we go down the route of science, where our Corvette is packed with labs, scanners, survey drones, and all of that good stuff. The point is, each role specialization could unlock unique missions like escort convoys, discover alien anomalies, defend stations from pirates, and so on and so forth. It would give Corvettes real identity beyond just that ship you live in. And number 7 is environmental flight dynamics, and this could change how we fly our Corvettes because right now they handle pretty similar to smaller ships. Granted, the bigger, bulkier ones aren't quite as maneuverable, but the difference isn't all that great in the grand scheme of things. So imagine if your ship design and the components you install actually significantly affected your flight dynamics. For example, a long, bulky Corvette might struggle in certain atmospheres, burning more fuel or generating more heat on entry, unless you install proper heat shields. A wing-heavy design might glide smoother, whilst a blocky industrial design might feel like a brick in the planetary gravity. Weather could also play a role. Maybe storms could trip away plating, radiation affects your hull, nebulae messing with your sensors, etc., etc. Suddenly, shipbuilding isn't just about aesthetics, it's also about survival and your playstyle as well. Moving on to number 8, let's talk about your Corvette's interior. Interiors are already fun to decorate, but they could go even deeper. So imagine if adding a recreation area boosted crew morale. Again, need crew for that. Or the medical bay actually healed you and your companions faster. Or the nutritional unit you can install actually fuels your NPC crew so they perform better in combat. You can even build a mini hangar inside, stocking a small fighter or a shuttle for quick missions. Of course, assuming that your ship is big enough. Maybe a hydroponics lab grows rare plants that only thrive in deep space and aren't currently in the game already. The possibilities are endless, and Hello Games could pull inspiration from a whole host of sources for this one. And it would mean Corvettes become more than just that shell and home. It would be thriving, functional. It directly can impact your gameplay. At number 9, let's talk about dynamic events. And I'd actually probably expand this to a lot of other areas in No Man's Sky, as I believe the whole game needs more dynamic events occurring. But I'll stick with Corvettes specifically for this video. And for those of you who aren't totally sure on what a dynamic event is, it's basically an event within a game world, or in this case a game universe, that evolves and changes based on the player's actions and the game state, rather than being a fixed, linear quest. Right, now that definition is done, here are a couple of examples of ones that Hello Games could add in relation to Corvettes. Now, imagine mid-warp, your crew intercept a distress signal. Do you divert course to investigate, risking pirates and anomalies, more so than the existing ones that just pop up out of nowhere? Or maybe your engineer pulls you aside with a personal quest. They've heard of rumors of a derelict ship carrying tech they've been chasing their whole, life or whatever. Or incredibly rare tech that would give your ship some serious upgrades. There are so many possibilities here. These dynamic events could make your Corvette feel like a story hub, where your choices in your crew personality shape the adventures you actually stumble upon. And as I said, I would love more of this in No Man's Sky as a whole, not just centered around the new ships. And finally, at number 10, let's talk about multiplayer. How incredible would it be if friends could crew your Corvette in real time? So one player takes the helm, another one manages engineering, someone else mans the weapons. In combat, it would feel like coordinating a real bridge crew, and in exploration, your friend could be running scans from the science console while you handle navigation, adding the possibility of boarding actions, defending your corridors from pirate raiders or sneaking onto enemy ships and stealing all of their valuable loot. Suddenly, with additions like this and perhaps others, multiplayer Corvettes becomes the ultimate No Man's Sky co-op experience. So there are 10, let's be honest, dream upgrades for Corvettes in No Man's Sky. Some of these, in fact, maybe most are probably just wishful thinking on my part and other players' parts. Of course, this is purely speculation in this video, though some could totally be included as enhancements further down the line, for example, the new modules. But either way, Corvettes are already one of the coolest updates the game has ever had. In fact, I'd probably go as far as saying they are the best update the game has ever had. But on the points I discussed, which of these would you want to see first or at all? And if there's something you'd like to see that isn't in this list, feel free to leave a comment about that as well. And if you enjoyed this video, it would be totally awesome if you could support my channel by hitting those like and subscribe buttons. You can now become a channel member as well, and as always, thank you for watching this video, and I hope to catch you in my next one.